Another week. It's Monday the 22nd of February, so another week of lockdown. But the good news is Boris has come out and told us a way out of all of this. Hi Billy, I hope you're well, Billy. I hope everything's okay for you out in America. Keep up the good work. So we are obviously coming out. We've been given some dates. We've got an exit plan, as Boris likes to call it. So those that are not from the UK that have tuned in, yes, we've got an exit plan, and hopefully by June everyone should be vaccinated and we should be out there doing some stuff, whatever that means. So that has to be good, I guess. But anyway. How is everyone out there? Where are you coming from? What's going on? Let me know. And this is another one of those Monday night live chat shows. So anything that you want to discuss, chat about, put them in the question mark box. I've got a giveaway today. So again, the best question that comes in, I will pull out a winner. I've got a couple of debates that have come in today, which we'll go over as well. If you're watching this afterwards on Instagram, or you're watching it on YouTube, because I've also got this ready for YouTube, you can't win the prize. I do apologise. Mike is in the house from Southern California. Whereabouts are you in Southern California? How southern are you? California's a big place, isn't it, as I've discovered. I think it's nearly as big as England. I've got my coffee. So yes, snowy and cold in New York, yeah, and I've heard it's snowy and cold in New York, and I've heard you've got a bit of snow in Texas. I've been in touch with a few buddies of mine that are in Texas. I spoke to Ray Luzier the other day. Kids are loving it, but I also do understand there's quite a bit. I know Burbank very well. I've done a bit of teaching there, know centre staging very well, so you're in Burbank. So when you were saying Southern California, see, I was thinking maybe you're up in San Francisco or somewhere like that, but you're southern LA. Anyway, like I said, any questions you want to talk about? Oh, wait a minute, reconnecting, sorry, don't know what's going on there. But yeah, I see we had Croatia in the house. How is it in Croatia? So we've got a few people in the house. We've got a little bit of drum news this week to tell you. We've got some topics to discuss. We hopefully will have a little lesson. If we have time to do the drum lesson again, put any topics that you might like me to address. They're live lessons. So for the next sort of 40 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes, this is your time, and we can do some stuff. Then I'm also going to tell you plans that we've got for the rest of the week. So let's get started. On drum news, Get Good Drums have announced that they're releasing an Annika Niles pack, Fluid Fashion Fusion Groove. So that's off Get Good Drums. You can go over to Annika Niles and check out her social media to find out a bit more information about that. Or you can go and check out the Get Good Drums and find out more information about that. Drum Magazine, the US magazine Drum Magazine, has got a new owner. I was going to say another new owner. It's got a new owner, and this time it is owned by 180 Drums, which is an online education platform. And so they are now the new owners of Drum Magazine. What else have we got? So I couldn't let the day go without mentioning the great Ronnie Verrill, who would have been 91 years old yesterday. For those that don't know about Ronnie Verrill, you should check out Ronnie Verrill. Great English drummer, but he was also the Animal for the Muppets. So everyone would obviously know who the Animal was. That was Ronnie Verrill. Like I said, a great English drummer. He would have been 91 yesterday. Funny enough, talking about going back and checking out drummers, it's a little bit about today's discussion as well. Drum Hangs have just announced their lineup for March, and again a great lineup for March. I know tonight, right now at 7 o'clock, I'm competing. It's not competing, but I'm up against Keith Carlock, who is doing tonight's Drum Hangs. But they've announced March's lineup again, great lineup. I think they do Mondays and Saturdays. But go over to Drum Hanks to find out about that. And also they've just announced that Dave Illich is going to be doing every Thursday night regarding covering the Alexander technique, which should be quite an interesting topic. So that's every Thursday night. I discussed a little bit about this on my on a post that I put out recently. I've recently come across, maybe I'm a little bit late to the table, but I've just come across this app called Moses app, Moises. Now I would show you how it works, but I'm using my phone, so I can't. But it's a really good app, and to be honest, one of my guests that I've got coming up this week, which I'll announce later, it was from posts that he'd put up that made me look at this app. And basically it lets you download the app, and it lets you take away the drums or take away the vocals or take away the guitar. You can put a click on it, etc, etc. So I've been playing around with that. So it's a really good app at the moment. And at the moment, for all you people out there, like all of us that want to play along and play to music, and we just can't get out there and play with our friends, it's quite a good little app, because obviously you can download your favourite songs, mute the drums, play along to the drums. I've been setting my students challenges, actually. I've been setting them songs to download, learn the songs. Maybe they transcribe the songs, or they just work out the songs, and then they have a week or however long until their next lesson, normally 2 days before the next lesson, they have to send me the version of them playing along. So it's something that's really cool at the moment, and something that we all need, because obviously we can't get out there and play with our mates. So anyway, it's called the Moises app, Moises app, or Moses app, or whatever you'd like to call it. So so that's the news. I've also tried something, and I don't know what you're getting here. Yeah, so Jackpot Gym. Yeah, I tried it recently too. Great, crazy how well it works. Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty good. I'm just trying to run it at the moment through the Yamaha EAD to see what. There's a little bit. Seems to be a little bit of a lag on it, but I'm playing around with it at the moment. And also, I don't know anything about it. I've just tried it. I was notified by Instagram about these badges. So apparently there's a badges system which I've actually activated today. So I don't know anything about it. I don't know what comes up on your screen. I just thought I'd give it a go, see what goes on with that. Anyway, so a couple of topics have come in this week that I want to tackle, and a couple of things that have happened this weekend actually via social media that have caught my attention that I want to address and maybe talk about. Like I said, any questions that you've got, any ideas or suggestions you want me to show you regarding a quick live 1 minute drum lesson, which hopefully we'll get to towards the end of this, put it all in the question mark box and we will tackle it. I've got some giveaways to give away as well, and again, that would be for people that are watching this. So one of the questions, a topic that came into this week, was dealing with setbacks. There is so many people, and I think even every week I say this, but I actually think it's getting worse for a lot of people. What is it, Mike? So Mike said I bought a badge. I actually don't know a lot about it, Mike, but thank you very much anyway. So many people are struggling at the moment in the music industry, and drummers, and musicians, and of course other people. But we're just talking about musicians at the moment. That I thought we should, and somebody asked me to talk about this, dealing with setbacks, and so I also saw a couple of topics that sort of grabbed my attention, and controversial topics that I thought maybe we should address these as well today. And one of them was regarding a great drummer. I've got a lot of respect for this drummer, a lot of time for this drummer, called Gregory Hutchinson. If you've followed him on his Instagram, he's not afraid of saying what he thinks, and rightly so. That's fine. I always feel that as long as you're not pissing anybody off or upsetting anybody, I think that's fine. And obviously, as we've talked about on here so many times, drums are art, and art is subjective. So you know, your favourite drummer may be different to my favourite drummer. So I don't know, just come up here and give me a little yay or nay if anyone's caught any of the Gregory Hutchinson's posts over the last couple of days regarding him talking about jazz drummers, which I have to say I totally agreed with him, and I think what he actually come out and said was cool, but it also showed a downside and a dark side to social media where people interpreted what he said differently to what he actually meant. And that brought me back to this week's topic, dealing with setbacks. Okay, so Mike, yes. Like I said, got a lot of time for, a great drummer. We were fortunate to have him over to the UK Drum Show a few years ago. Lots and lots of respect. And he, like I said, he wears his heart on his sleeve, which I love. And I think that's cool. More people should be like that. So, but it tied into this week's topic. So, as I said, there's a lot of people dealing with a lot of issues at the moment. Whether it's the weather, whether it's not being able to see their family members, whether it's when can we get out of this, whether it's everything. And I looked back and I thought to myself, well, I've always dealt with this. And this is, like I said, this is also a little bit relevant to what Gregory was talking about. We've always dealt with downsides in the music industry. It's the way of the industry. You know, if you feel that, if you set up something, any form of business, and you don't change that business model for a few years, and everyone else is going to catch up, overtake you, and then all of a sudden you're left behind. It's the same as being a professional musician. You have to always add to your armory, if you like, and your ability to do things. And so setbacks are part of life. Everyone deals with them, whether it's a setback where unfortunately a lot of people may have lost somebody, they've been through stressful times in their livelihood, whether it's financially, whether it's professionally, everybody deals with it. And I've read a lot of autobiographies, and a couple of books that I've also discussed about on here before. One would be Shoe Dog, which was the history of Nike Town, which I thought was just an incredible book, and the issues that he went through to set that company up. One was Mike Tyson, and again, unbelievable, the hardship, what those people deal with. But they're at the top of their game now. And so I think what a lot of people do is they see these people at the top of the game and just assume, well, everything's great, everything's okay. They don't realise, actually, there's so much determination, there's so many heartbreaks, there's so many issues to get to that level. And I think right now, it's getting to people, what's going on. But this should be your time. This should be the time, we've discussed it on here before, where you knuckle down, you change things in your life, you look at things that you thought were important that maybe aren't as important. If it's purely musical that we're talking about, you look at things and you think, right, well, let me look at what I should be working on. Let me understand and study different things. So again, a very well-known person sent me a message over the weekend. He's been on here as a guest, but asked me, which new drummers have I come across? He said, I'm bored. I've studied all these drummers, and I need to find some new drummers to look at. So I thought about, so I gave him some names of some drummers that I've come across recently and have been really impressed with, but also the older drummers, which goes back to what Gregory was talking about. We forget about these older drummers. These are the forefathers. These are the people that set it up for us. And they had so many hardships. I mean, they were dealing with so many issues. I mean, just being a musician back in the 30s and 40s would have been hard enough. Some of those great musicians would have been, black musicians who again were dealing with so much hardship. You know, there wasn't the audience, there wasn't the money, there wasn't the management, there wasn't all those issues that are in place now. They weren't there in those places, but these were the greatest musicians around. So I think that we should be looking back. That's why I mentioned today about Ronnie Vell. And we should start thinking to ourselves, right, well, let me get into 3 or 4 different drummers that maybe I don't know about. And there's no issues with that. If you don't know some of those guys, I mean, then, or girls, then that's fine. But look into them, find out about those people. You know, go back to the beginning. Go find out about Dave Tuff. Find out about Cozy Cole. Find out about Kenny Clark. You know, Art Blakey, Alvin Jones. Find out who go backwards. Find your favourite drummer. Find out who they were influenced with. Find out who they were influenced with, etc., etc. So coming up to Gregory. So Gregory made a statement this week about jazz drumming. And he made a statement that I think there was a video that had been put out, and it wasn't any criticism to the person that put the video out. It was about somebody putting up a video about 10 jazz fills. And jazz is an art form. Music is an art form. You go back and you look and you think the guys and the girls that have set the way for the rest of us were original musicians. There was no one like them. They were the first ones. They didn't copy from anybody. You go back and look at the history of drums. The history of drums, a drum kit has only been around for 120 years. You know, 1900s, at the beginning of the 1900s was the start of the evolution of a drum kit. Okay, so go back, look at these guys. Exactly. I mean, he talked about the jazz flurries. And like I said, he wasn't criticising the drummer, and it got a little bit mistaken. What he was saying was about the art form of jazz. The same way as people have talked about gospel drumming. You know, I've had Chris Coleman on here talking about gospel drumming. It's been given a term, and it's like, well, it isn't a term. Drumming is drumming. Music is music, okay? But the thing that resonated with me about what Greg was talking about is the same with this topic that we're talking about today, dealing with setbacks. And that is, try to find your originality. Try and not be the same. It's very easy to copy everyone else. It's important to copy everyone else, but forget it. Learn it, move on. Sit down at your drum kit or music and look for other things, okay? I put a lesson up today, and I decided to put the lesson up an hour before we came live for the reason that I wanted to then explain to you that the idea was it's an exercise, it's a pattern, it's working on polyrhythmic patterns, okay? That's the concept of the exercise. It's polyrhythmic patterns, but I want people to take the exercise and go, well, what happens if I don't play the right hand on the right cymbal? What happens if I play the right hand between the tom-toms? Or what happens if I don't play the bass drum on that place of the work? You know, change it around, experiment. You know, it's the parameters. Drum, one of my pet hates, but there's authors out there, drum people that like drum books, that have written one exercise and have written every kind of permutation in that book. Complete waste of time and a waste of money, because you can do that yourself. Sit down and do something as simple as playing a rock pattern and changing the way that you play the rock pattern. Don't play it on the hi-hat, or play the right hand, the 8th note patterns between 3 different surfaces. Just changing it around. And I mean, this is exactly what Gregory was talking about. It was like, you know what? Let's be original. Let's find fresh stuff to work on and be original. You look at all the drummers that have come our way, and obviously they're out there now. You know, there's some great drummers out there now that are original drummers. Okay, they've studied with people, they've learned as much as they possibly can, and then they've changed and they've evolved into themselves. You know, you go back and you look at, even if you just go back to Steve Gadd, there was no one like Steve Gadd. You know, Dave Weckl, there was no one like a Dave Weckl. You know, God bless his soul, Chick Corea died last week. There was no one like Chick Corea. You know, it's very easy to follow and go, this is the model and this is what we're going to do. Okay, it's the same as what I've done here, where when I started MikeDolber.com, there wasn't many drum websites around. People started doing it. There wasn't, other things that I've done. I'm always trying to look for new stuff. I mean, I think I read in a journal the other day that the podcasts last year, drum podcasts, there was something like 800 new drum podcasts last year launched. Now, of course, we're in COVID. Of course, we had the pandemic and people were trying to find new things. But seriously, I mean, how many times? And I've said this on numerous occasions on here, where I've come up here and I do these talks and I do these live Instagrams, etc., etc. Why should I be doing that? Why shouldn't somebody else be doing that? And trust me, I question myself all the time on that. But it's trying to think of being original. And it goes back to that, dealing with setbacks. When you get a setback, you look at yourself, you sit back and you go, right, okay, first of all, is it me? What can I do? What can I do? Can I change something? Okay. Sometimes it's nothing to do with you. If it's you're playing, if you feel, I just feel just stagnant. I sit down on my drum kit, I don't feel original. Change it up. Like I said, sit down at your drum kit, think of a theme. Sit down at your drum kit and maybe play a tune and sit down and start playing that on the drums. Or sit down on your drum kit and exercises that you normally play, change the voicing. Okay, play them on different ways. Sit down on the drum kit and instead of maybe if you're a right-handed drummer and you're playing time with your right hand, turn it over, play it with your left hand. Just look for some originality. What can go wrong? Okay, nothing can go wrong. Don't always think that everybody on social media, especially me, is everything they say is gospel. They're not. No one knows it. No one knows it all. Even with Gregory, as much as I respect his views and things that he comes up there, I don't agree with him all the time. As much as I don't a lot of people. That's it. It's not like, I don't know, with our parents. I'm sure our parents over the years have said things to us and we're like, yeah, I don't really agree with that. It doesn't make them bad people that they're not right or wrong. It just doesn't resonate with us. So be adventurous. Go back. Maybe pick some drummers that you don't know much about. Find out about it. I mean, again, this isn't a love for Gregory today, but he goes back and talks about some of the great drummers. I was fortunate enough, as I've said before, to study with the great English drummer Kenny Clare. Through Kenny Clare, I really got to understand Kenny Clark because they worked in the Clark Bolan band. And then from that, I understood a lot of those. I love talking to people. A good buddy of mine, Billy Ward, I love to talk to Billy about him sitting down with Joe Jones and talking about, brushes and how they learn. I just love all that stuff. Now there's a gentleman that's just popped in that I've got a lot of time for, Mr. Paul Francis. So I did send you a message, Paul. I hope you're well. So look back at those guys, check them out, find out what and it's amazing when you go back to some of those drummers and you look at what they were doing, especially with the equipment that they were using back in those days. You go back to 1920s, 1930s, the evolution of the drum kit was still creating. I talked about this the other day. I found an old catalogue, a cymbal catalogue, and I'm guessing it was about 30 or 40 years old. But you know what? Most of those drummers in that catalogue had 3 cymbals. And I think Alvin Jones actually once said, there is no such thing as a ride cymbal or a crash cymbal. A cymbal is a cymbal. That's what it does. So I think that what I'm trying to say here is go back, look at those old guys, see how they were playing, see what was going on. I think we're coming to the end of, I'd like to think we're coming to the end of lockdowns. I'm not going to say we're coming to the end of COVID because I don't know if that's going to be, I think that's going to be around for a long time. But I'm no politician, so it's exactly what I just said. Don't take any notice of what I'm saying. But I think that we're coming towards a solution where things can start moving back again. And I said at the beginning of all this, don't let this time go past and not learn anything from it. whether it is purely drumming, whether it's about yourself, whatever it is, don't let that happen. You know, and I think that it's made a lot of people rethink the situation. Things that they thought were important aren't as important. I know money is important because obviously without money you can't survive, but I think a lot of people have realised actually I was too busy thinking about that. And now, like I said, I think we're going to be starting to come out of this. Touch wood, you know, whatever I've got here. In the UK they said June, hopefully we'll be out of this. So now it's almost like, right, okay, we've got a time frame, and maybe now's the time that we really need to, if we didn't before, reevaluate things and go from there. Is there any questions that people would like to ask that are in here now? And like I said, is there any topic, drum lesson topic, I can do a short lesson on? If not, I can do, I can think of something else to work on. But if there's anyone out there that has got anything that they want to talk about, I'm back on my coffee again. I've talked about it before. Set up by a great British drummer, actually a Welsh drummer. My Stonehouse coffee. While I'm waiting for anything to come in, if not, it doesn't matter. I can, I'll work out a lesson for you in a second. So I'm going to start something new tomorrow. I've touched on this, but I think it's time now to discuss it a little bit more. And I'm going to try and do this globally. Mike, you'll be pleased to hear I've reached out to the boys at Pro Drum as well to do this. I'm going to start a topic tomorrow called Meet the Shops. And I want to know a little bit about the history, how things have changed from a shop's perspective. We're going to go to Sound Attack tomorrow, Pete and Scott, and Pete's been around a long time and could help us know how that started, how shops have changed, what they've done in the last year. And for those that are in the UK or follow anything that's been going on in the UK, how Brexit has had an effect or isn't going to have an effect, or where we stand, and just find out a little bit about drum shops. It's quite interesting the amount of times people talk to me about thinking about setting up drum shops, but I endorse this over and over again, where I've been trying to say to people, you've got to get into your drum shops, you've got to support your shops. Because once those shops have gone, they're not coming back. Okay, it's easy to order stuff online, but you know that feeling. Anyone that's, I mean, Mike's still in the house, but anyone that's been into a Pro Drum, you know, it's such a great experience to go in there, look around, have a chat. Yeah, those guys at I'm going to read this out purely because afterwards this message goes. But Mike's just put, those guys at Professional Drum Shop Hollywood are great. Tons of stories, and this is what I'm going to start trying to get hold of tomorrow. With Pete, like I said, Scott's his son, so he's the younger, but Pete has got lots of stories. You know, how the height of the drum clinics were always taking place. You know, and how they've changed, what the shops have had to do to adjust and adapt, which goes back to the topic of dealing with setbacks. How they've had to adapt, how they've got through it. They've obviously had to adapt this year or last year to come through this. So it's a new feature that I'm starting tomorrow night. And it's going to be 6 o'clock UK time, which I think is 10 in LA. And I'm going for 1 o'clock Eastern time. But so it's going to be tomorrow. It's Sound Attack, and it's, like I said, Meet the Shops. And then on Wednesday, and again, it's quite interesting that we're going to do this because I've been looking out for new people. It's a gentleman I don't know. I reached out and I said, look, do you want to come up and do a chat? He's someone that I've paid attention to because of lockdown over the last year. I've seen him, loved what he's doing. It was him that put me on to, or I saw he was using the Moses app, and I hope I get the name right, so I do apologise. I'm hoping I'm going to get this. Greason Nekratman. Okay, he's an 18-year-old New York drummer. I'm sure many of you know him because you're all over Instagram. So I've got him on Wednesday night. We were going to do 7 o'clock UK time, but he was still at college or still at school. So we're going to do 8 o'clock. I've never met him. I love what he's doing. So go and check those guys out before we do the chat. So, Richard Jupp's just turned up, and now I'm leaving, Richard. Now you've turned up, I'm just going. No, I'm not. I've got a drum lesson to do now, Richard. So if you've got any, I'm going to do a live lesson, Richard Jupp. So if you've got any suggestions that you want to stick in that question mark box, then let me know, because I'm going to blag it and think about a drum lesson. By the way, is there anyone else out there that's downsized in their drumsticks? I always used to use an SD4 combo, a Vic Firth SD4 combo. The maple ones. I just liked the thickness in my hand and a little bit of weight in the top end. But I've gone down to an AJ6, which is the same thickness but a really, really tiny top. It's amazing, really, because I was concerned I was going to break sticks. I don't break sticks, luckily. Hopefully my technique has allowed me to know how to work the stick. But I would have never thought about using something as thin as this on the top, like I said, compared to that. But I don't know if anyone else has actually started going down in a stick weight. Okay, so let's talk about the lesson maybe I put up today. Oh, he's put a question mark in. Hang on. Wait a minute. Let's see. Amazables, so great. Amazables, so great. I don't even know what that means, Mike. I do apologise. Okay, so let me talk about what I was talking about today that I put up as a lesson. Okay, and that was, I was talking about playing a pattern of 3 across the bass drum, snare drum and hi-hat. And by the way, a lot of people have mentioned to me before about me playing a lot of, it goes back to this thing about jazz. Jazz was always my passion, okay, but jazz was something I never really got to play because I didn't move in that circle. I studied with some great jazz players. I love jazz. I was brought up with, my dad was a huge big band fanatic, and from a very young age we go and see all the big band stuff, and I loved Ronnie Scott's, and I'm fortunate enough to have seen everybody at Ronnie Scott's, but it's still something that I haven't really mastered. And so when I practice new material, I like to do it in jazz form, or a lot of Latin American stuff. So when I'm practicing new stuff, I like to use stuff feels and genres that I'm not that comfortable in. So get back to what I'm talking about. So the lesson I put up today was this little exercise. Right, here we go. Let's move this. I was commenting on your story you posted with your sweet level 42 Oh, well, I've got to come back to that. Thank you very much. I've got to come back to that. I just think things have got a little bit serious, to be honest with you. Anyone that saw the post that I put up for advertising this event was a photo of me probably when I was about 21, 22 years old. I was on a Greek island with a very good band. I think I was there for about 5 or 6 months. It was the house kit, which was set up on the beach. And that's what we looked like. You know, that was the look back in the 80s, mid 80s. And to be honest, like I said, I just thought things are getting a little bit serious, needed a little bit of a laugh, a little bit of a joke. I don't take myself too seriously, as anyone can tell you. Francesco's in the house, I think. Great photographer, Francesco, who does all my photos. I have no current photos because obviously no one's been anywhere for the last year. Francesco sent me some funny photos last week of he's morphed my face into various things, and I just thought it was a bit of fun. So I did put that up today. I'll come back to that in a minute, Johnny. So I just put that photo up, just have a little bit of a laugh. Trust me, I've got some worse ones than that. I just thought things were a little bit serious. As, like I said, people know, I try to put things up in real time as well up on my social media. I think there's, and again, it's not a criticism towards people, everybody's different. But I think sometimes there is too many well-rehearsed, well-polished performances that go up onto social media that sometimes do more damage than they do good. So like I said, I thought, right, I came across that photo and I thought, I'm just going to put that picture up. That'll keep everyone happy. And by the way, it did. Yes, Johnny has just asked, do you play any blues as well? Yeah, I mean, blues obviously is based around the jazz triplet. So it's that kind of feel. I've done quite a bit of research over the years on the history of all of that and tried to go back, like I said at the beginning of this, and find out its heritage, the pioneers, where it came from, etc., etc. So the exercise is this. Right now, I'm gonna move this. So now I can't see you. So if you're sending any messages, or so you could all just disappear, and I'll come back and no one's there. Okay, so the exercise was this. I'm going to explain it in real time. So all I was thinking about was trying to think of a three between the bass drum, snare drum, hi-hat. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So it's just playing ba da 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 da. So it's no break in that groove, but it's da 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 da. So it's 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And over the top, I was thinking of just playing 4 swing, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Now, obviously, that means that the bass drum, snare drum, and hi-hat will not come down on the same place every time. It'll go in a circle, i.e. this. Here we go. Two, 4 bars. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Ah. Okay, so that's an explanation of today's lesson that I put up. Have a bit of fun with it. If you like it, change it around. Maybe repost it, tag me so I can see it. And just like I said, just have a bit of fun. There's all these people just popping up. I mean, Jack's just come into the house. Where you been, Jack? I mean, seriously, I started on the hour. I mean, where you been, Jack? I'm only teasing. Okay, the other thing I just want to finish off with telling you about is my next Zoom masterclass is going to be on the 9th of March, Tuesday night. It'll be my 5th Zoom masterclass. And every one I have a different topic to. This one, I'm actually going to let the people, when they sign up, pick what they want me to talk about. I will have a surprise guest. I'm just going to read this one out. Sorry, Matt. So, Matt Dixon, thanks for all your contributions to the drum community over this lockdown, Mike. You've really put the time in. Thank you. I appreciate it. Appreciate you noticing. It's going to be Tuesday the 9th of March. I've done 5 now. Always have a surprise guest that come on. My last guest was Stanton Moore. And like I said, we're going to let the whoever books up, they're going to pick what they want. It's a very small class. It's a limited number of people, so the places do go. So let me know if you're interested. DM me if you're interested. It's £15. It's going to be anything between an hour and a half and 2 hours. That's it for that. Right, now I've got, I had no questions in today. So actually, you know what? I feel like I want to go with dealing with setbacks. Now, it's slightly difficult on this one because I know who sent me that in, but it's someone that's struggling at the moment, and so I'm gonna drop them a message and say that they've won a pair of sticks that I've got down here. I was going to give people a choice today. I had a pair, some sticks and a t-shirt, but I'm going to send this person a pair of sticks. So that's it. So please join me tomorrow night, earlier time, 6 o'clock, for a new feature, Meet the Shops, with Sound Attack, to find out about the shop. I know they, over the years, have brought some great products in. I think they were the first people in the UK to bring in SJC drums. I think they may have also been the first people to bring in Q drums into the UK. But just finding out about the runnings of the shop, the history of the shop, how it's changed, how retail's changed, etc, etc. And then, like I said, on Wednesday night, it's an hour later, it's at 8 o'clock UK time, so that's going to be midday in LA, and that is going to be about 3 o'clock Pacific time, and that's going to be with Greason Necked Rut Man. Great drummer from New York. Check him out. He's doing some really amazing stuff. I've never met him. I've had no connection with him, so it's going to be quite interesting to find out a little bit more about what he's up to. That's it. Thank you very much. I say it every time and I mean it. Look after yourself. Very, very important. Look after yourself. Be nice to yourself. Be nice to others. Check in with people. Make sure they're doing okay. If you're in the UK, I'm hoping that the rest of the world is going to be will also be following suit, and we'll all be in the same situation. But looks like there's light at the end of the tunnel, and